but I think that if we give ourselves too much time, you know, we won't kind of be as on task and not have any kind of sense of urgency. So I ask that of you, and again, you will be well staffed. We have staff here that's going to be, you know, taking notes. Channel 20 is going to be recording all the proceedings, so if you ever have any questions, if you want to go back and look at it, or if somebody, your friends and family, want to know what Charter Review Commission is, this is a public meeting. Everything that we do is you know, subject to open meetings laws and everything else. So this room will always be open. The TV will always be recording it. Wait, does this work? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
The first thing, I got to authorize more money for Channel 20. But anyhow, it's really, you know, in terms of like, you know, what the expectation is, what we want at the end of this, and you saw in your packet, is recommendations. These will be recommendations that the council forwards to the Board of Elections for people to vote on. And again, what we did 10 years ago was very challenging, but I think we did some very good work. This is work. It is hard. It can be dry. It's incredibly important. So thank you for doing what you do. If you need, I think where we left off before I got this fancy microphone, is we're talking about we will be well staffed. We have, you know, John James and Takashi, you're going to be here for the balance? Okay. Are going to be recording, are going to be taking any questions, anything that needs further research. We're going to have the law director is with us, so we're going to have all of our legal questions answered in a timely manner. With that, I'm going to turn this over to our attorney, Rachel, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about, you know, what it is we're here doing. But I would just ask of you, do the work that you've got to do. Try to get it done in you know, in 6 months if that's possible, and if not, by the charter we have till the balance of 2018 to forward recommendations of this commission. So. Oh, I got to learn to follow an agenda. Yes, if we could start with introductions, that would be extremely helpful. I apologize for not doing that. First off, my name is Kevin Kelly. I represent Ward 13, and I'm the president of Cleveland City Council.
Justin Bibb, senior advisor at Gallup and a resident of downtown Cleveland.
I am Councilwoman Donna Brady. I represent Ward 11 on the Midwest side.
My name is Frank Camardo. I'm an attorney by training, spent the last few years at Jones Day, and I'm now a consultant for a real estate broker here in the city.
Johnny Ham. I'm a Cleveland Division of Police Lieutenant assigned to the 2nd District Community Services Unit and a resident of Ward 13.
Brian Casey, Councilman Ward 16.
Marty Kane, Councilman of Ward 17.
I'm Ken Johnson, Councilman of Ward 4.
I'm Michelle Kenny, financial consultant with the Urban League and also former employee of City of Cleveland for 15 years. And I'm a resident of Collinwood Ward.
Thank you. I'm Rhonda Curtis, Chief Assistant Director of Law. I'm sitting in today for Director of Law Barbara Lang Henry.
Good morning, Kerry McCormick. I'm the Ward 3 City Council person, which is Ohio City, downtown Tremont, and part of the Stockyards neighborhood.
Tom McNair. I'm a resident of Ward 4 and the Executive Director of Ohio City Incorporated.
Good morning, Councilwoman Jasmine Santana from Ward 14.
Okay, well, thank you. And, you know, as you can tell by the introduction, we've got a very, you know, well-rounded bunch with a lot of people that have a lot of good insight into the city of Cleveland. So I will now, I feel, accept my apology for not starting with introductions. I will turn over to Rachel. The microphone. Yes, you do. I didn't want to. Okay. You can. Oh, yeah, I should have sat. Oh, man, now we tell me.
I'm going to do some more introductions. I'm Rachel Nigro-Scalish. I'm one of the attorneys for Cleveland City Council. I will be staffing, one of the attorneys on staff here to help you review any proposed amendments and, draft up any proposed amendments to the charter. And why don't the rest of the staff introduce themselves as well? So, and I told Alan earlier, if anything goes wrong here, it's his fault. So we know who to blame. I'm going to, I really feel like I should sing or
Here,
something.
why don't you sit here?
No, you know what, let's just pull up a
No,
different
here,
chair.
no, sit here, and then this works, I should have done that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll take this off your
All right,
hands.
thanks. So everybody can hear me? And the television can hear me. I'm just going to go through real quickly kind of how we got here today in terms of the charter and what the history. Municipal corporations like Cleveland can govern themselves in their local municipal matters through certain powers granted to them under the Ohio Constitution. Those powers are called home rule powers. That's under the Ohio Constitution, Article 8, Section 3, very near and dear to anybody who works in municipal law and to administration and municipalities. The Ohio Constitution says basically Article 8, Section 3, municipalities have the authority to exercise all powers of local self-government and to adopt and enforce within their limits such local, police, sanitary, and other similar regulations as are not in conflict with general laws. This basically allows a city to manage its affairs by adopting a charter. The procedural powers of self-government are those that relate to the structure and form of your government. And you figure out how your government is organized, how you form it, the structure of your government, through adopting a charter. We adopt our charter under the Ohio Constitution as well. Any municipality may frame and adopt or amend a charter for its government and may, subject to the provisions of Section 3, exercise thereunder all powers of local self-government. So a charter, a municipality exercises its powers of local self-government by adopting a charter. A charter determines how a municipal corporation's government will function. It's the legal instrument. It's comparable to a constitution. It's the framework for municipal government. It establishes procedures under which a municipal government operates. So our charter specifies a form of government, like a ward mayor system or a city manager system. It does not try to solve all the detailed administrative or legislative policy matters. It is more of a framework. By doing it this way allows for flexibility in meeting a municipality's needs. It states the fundamentals. It does not try to cover all specific situations. That's left for the laws. A municipal corporation that doesn't adopt a charter has to follow the procedures followed in state law or set forth in state law. So what are some matters of local self-government? Internal organization, like we've just talked about, control, use, and ownership of certain public property, salaries of municipal officers, recall of municipal elected officials, regulation of municipal streets, procedures for the sale of municipal property. There are also matters of statewide concern that are outside the scope of municipal home rule powers of local self-government, such as annexation of property, prevailing wage law, public employee collective bargaining law. Matters of statewide concern are general laws of the state that are comprehensive. They need a uniform application. And sometimes we as a municipality have tried to create our own local laws and have been told by the Ohio Supreme Court, no, this is a matter of statewide concern. For instance, with weapons and possession of guns. So that's one thing that the Ohio Supreme Court has said to us. You can't regulate this yourselves. It's a matter of statewide concern. The matters of statewide concern is something that you're not going to have to worry about in terms of amending the charter. We are only worried about the procedural powers of our government and how our government operates. Limitations on municipal home rule are also in the Ohio Constitution. That limits the municipality's power to tax and incur debt. A city cannot raise money for or loan credit to or in aid of any company, corporation, or association. That's called lending, aid, and credit prohibition. The Ohio Constitution reserves for citizens the right to initiative and referendum. which cannot be eliminated by the charter or by a municipal corporation through its charter. The charter can establish procedures for initiative and referendum, and you will see those in our charter. The Ohio Constitution also requires appointments and promotion in the civil service of cities, according to merit and fitness. The charter can have specific rules of civil service in it. We can't do away with the civil service either. So, also under the Ohio Constitution, any amendment to the charter must be submitted to the electors for approval. And that's, the council president mentioned that. So this is one of the reasons why amendments to the charter are important and need to be taken seriously and need to be reviewed seriously, because one, they go to the electors, and two, if they are voted and as proposed and become effective, they're really hard to change. So you really want to make sure what you're doing, what you're changing, what you're putting in there is something that you really, it's going to be effective for quite some time, and that is something that will be able to be enforced for a period of time. So your jobs are important and serious. The Cleveland City Charter itself was first formed in 1914, pursuant to the Constitution. So this charter has been around since 1914. Charter sections 200 and 200-1 govern the charter, how it is amended, and the Charter Review Commission process. And those, it's in your charter here, of course, and it's also set forth in another section of your binder, just so you can see them. Proposed amendments under our charter may be submitted to the electors anytime council votes by a 2/3 majority to do so, or when 10% of the electors of the city submit an initiative petition. Effective dates are at the end of each charter section, and you will see that when you go through your charter. Some of the effective dates are from 1924. Some are from 1931, some are from 2010 and 2008 when the last Charter Review Commission took place. Charter Review Commission meets every 10 years to review the charter and propose amendments. So that's kind of a history. If you want to open up your binders now, I'll just go through what you have, what we're giving you. After the first tab is the Charter of the City of Cleveland. This can be found online under AmericanLegal.com. And here it is for you here. The second tab is the Charter Review Commission from 2008, the report. I would suggest that everybody read at least, you don't have to read the entire report, but peruse it. But read at least the reports, the summaries from the folks that were on the commission last time. It gives a really good overview of, one, how the commission did their work, and two, what some of the commission members found important in the process, as well as the amendments that were made. It's a good document. As you go through the commission report, the recommendations that went to the ballot and were voted on and accepted are checkmarked. The commission in 2008 made many recommendations. Not all of them went to the ballot, and so those are the ones that checkmarked are the ones that actually did go to the ballot. Some were voted on and did not make recommendations to the council itself. What happens is you guys will make recommendations, council will take those recommendations and review them and determine which ones they want to put on the ballot. You may not have any recommendations. You probably will have some. But you don't have to have as many as they did last time. We really needed a comprehensive review in 2008 because it hadn't been done in 20 years, and my understanding is that 20 years previous to that, 1988, was not a very well thought out review at that time. I don't even know whether there were any recommendations made to change. Anyway, so 2008 had a lot of comprehensive changes made, and you can review those when you go. The next tab after the blue tab is the mailer that council sent out to all the constituents, all voters in the city of Cleveland, reviewing the proposed changes to the charter. They were, I think, 5 issues, but each issue had many changes within it, many charter section changes within it. So this is kind of a good overview of what was amended 20 years ago. And lastly, after the orange tab, I put in there the Ohio Constitution, the relevant Ohio Constitution provisions, just so you have them in case you're bored. My outline regarding the Ohio Constitution, the Home Rule, and the Charter, as well as sections 200 and 201 of the Charter regarding your work on the commission. And that's all I have. Yes. Any questions?
Well done.
All right.
Any questions for Rachel?
Right now? Yeah, we got to do the vote, yes.
Okay, so the first order of business is this commission is going to be a self-governing body. You're going to, govern yourselves, vote amongst yourselves and choose those recommendations, within this body. So there's some housekeeping things that need to be determined. The chair, secretary, and then your meeting schedule, when is a convenient time for people to meet. There won't be lunch if it's at noon every time. This is just that, but today there will be. And then just how you're going to form. So I would say the first order of business would be the election of the chair and secretary. I recommend that it be somebody from council that is this isn't going to be run as a strict Robert's Rules of Order, but just has some general sense of how a committee meeting is run. I would suggest Councilman Kane, if he would be so, if he would honor us with his leadership. He's an attorney. He knows how to do it. So keep things focused and move things along. But I would leave this up to the group for further discussions, nominations, however you want to roll. Curry?
How do we get recognized to speak? Just same thing like we do?
We're just kind of forming right now, so you just kind of say whatever you want to say. And then we'll do a motion in a second just to make it
Immediately
pseudo-official.
before you said that, I looked at him and made eye contact with that idea. I think Councilman Kane is fair, balanced, keeps things in an orderly fashion, but is also, open to conversation. And I think that's a good idea. He's an attorney. He's a smart guy. So I think that's a good recommendation. I would second that recommendation.
Okay. Does anybody else have any thoughts, any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, he was talking about Marty King, right?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I know what he was talking about.
I know it threw you when he said he was smart, but
Well, I had a problem with the smart remark, but that's all right.
yeah, that's
Thank you, Councilman.
You're welcome, anytime.
okay. Are there any other nominations or any other suggestions? Okay, so let's take our first vote. All in favor of Marty Kane being the chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Has he accepted the offer?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
We wouldn't have ran
Yes.
out the door.
All right. Any further
Thank
discussion?
you, Mr. President. Thank you, members of the commission.
Thank you.
I'll do my best.
Excellent. So Marty Kane will be the chair. The secretary, I'm going to recommend John and Takasha because that's what they do. And Olivia, wait, sorry, Olivia? Yeah, between our research policy staff, they're good at it. They keep very diligent notes and all. I mean, unless somebody really wants to take that on themselves, it's kind of a good way to go.
Look at me.
Okay. All good with that? Okay. Aye. And then,
Move approval.
okay.
Second.
All right, now, meeting schedule.
You have to take a vote.
Vote, All in favor of our research policy staff acting as the secretary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then meeting schedule is the next order of business. And this is never, there's never like perfect consensus on this. The only thing I would recommend is that generally it should be on a Thursday or Friday because we have committee stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, most of the time, and occasionally Thursday. I would recommend that it be a Thursday or Friday morning. A lot of people don't like Fridays. And in terms of the frequency of meeting, I will kind of leave that to your discretion and to the chair's discretion. And I would, based on the 2008 and what had to be done then, compared to what I kind of foresee as a task ahead, it's probably going to be like an every other week type of thing would be my guess. But I'll leave it. You know, why am I even doing this? Councilman Kane, I'm going to turn this. You've been elected.
Oh, no, you're doing fine.
No, you've been elected. So well, why don't you pick this one up from here,
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, and thank you again. It's a pleasure to serve at the behest of the council president. No, I'm excited for it. I was on council in 2008. I was not on the commission, but I did participate quite a bit in the process. It can be dry, but it's also, when you see it come to fruition, it is a living document. I mean, we do it every day. A lot of us are council members, and I obviously I work with them closely and respect them, and I know a couple of the other members. So our schedules are a little crazy, but we're here Monday through Wednesday. I would probably agree that Thursday, and the reason Thursday and Friday is also we're gonna put it on Channel 20, right? So we have to use this room for our formal commission meetings because the equipment's here and it can be televised for anybody who wants to participate from home. So again, our schedules are kind of set. I'm interested to see or hear from any of the members who don't work on the second floor of City Hall on a regular basis, if they have any thoughts, if it's Thursdays and Fridays are terrible. Every 2 weeks, our only role today is to pick a chair and pick a date. We can change it anytime, but I know Councilwoman Brady is not a big fan of what? The
Friday.
Early morning? Oh, Fridays.
And not early in the morning.
Okay. But to our commission members who aren't here, any thoughts or, I mean, are any days better? Any frequency better?
How long do the meetings usually last?
Well, it depends. I mean, the last time when Councilwoman Cleveland did it was the chair. It was a deep dive. I mean, they were bringing in unions and department heads, and we can do that. It's certainly where this is going to take us. Some of them can be 2 hours, I would say, on average, right, Phyllis?
Yeah, I think on average, about 2 hours. There were some times where we had to go longer.
A couple of them went really long, but we'll learn more about that as we kind of jump in. Yes, Councilman.
I would make a proposal of Thursdays, 10 to 12.
Thursdays 10 to 12 is the proposal. That's because we're here every day. But, I mean.
Well, Fridays are not good.
Fridays are not good for Councilwoman Brady.
I like Thursdays 10 to noon. That sounds like a good time.
I like Thursdays too. Are you considering every week?
No,
Thursday?
we're going to start every other week.
Every other week?
Every other week. So our committee schedules, to anybody who doesn't pay particular attention, like the Transportation Committee or Public Utilities Committee, it's every 2 weeks, usually Monday through Wednesday. Finance is every week. So what I guess the thought is to make it a regular committee meeting of this body, and we can calendar it, publicly notice it, just like we do for our committees. So every 2 weeks, if it turns out that we're done in 25 minutes, then we can amend it, we can change it. We don't have to. I don't think that's going to happen, at least for a month or two. But every 2 weeks is the thought. For right now, it's Thursdays at 10 is on the table. Speak now. Let me know. And while it seems formal to anybody who, it's not. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot, we're gonna be rolling with it. Robert's rules are what we make it, as long as there's a motion, a second, and discussion, and we call the formal roll. And that's how I'm gonna run it, so there's no talking through the chair or any of that stuff, because we got a lot of work to do. People have to feel comfortable in talking. That's why we're here, is to hash out some of these very important issues. I hear nothing. Anybody? Thursday at 10?
Thursday at 10.
We'll set that as the official meeting time of the Charter Review Commission. We'll start, I think, 2 weeks from today.
Then we'll send out emails with agendas and times and any important stuff.
So tentatively, until, unless something blows up, right, May 10th at 10 o'clock, we'll meet here. Alan, I think, has everybody's email. You should have received emails from him. Alan Dreyer, again, the deputy clerk, and Rachel, John, and Takasha. They're all City Hall employees. They work with us every day. But please, pipe in. Don't ever feel like I'm not going to try to hijack anything. I have no agenda. I realize the significance of this, and I look forward to muddling through. But
And Marty, just on that,
yes.
So make sure that we have a good email. I know that for some, email isn't like their communication of choice. They like texts or some other media. But for a group this big, we need to rely on something that everybody has. So do check your emails when they come from Cleveland City Council on a regular basis, even if it's become your not favorite mode of communication. Just make it for this one, please.
In any communication, we do need a quorum, so there's 15 members of the commission. A quorum would be 8. So if you can't make it, it would be appreciated some communication as soon as you know for sure, or even have an idea that you won't be able to make it. Just give us a heads up, and we'll work all that out. I mean, that's. I think today we had 2 important things to do. One of them you guys completely failed at, picking me, but. The other one is the secretary and the schedule, which is good. I think in preparation for May 10th, I would look at what the remarkable chairwoman did in 2008 with their report. You don't have to read it or learn it or memorize it, but it's a great template for what we're going to hope to do in 2018. So look over that, and then anything that jumps out, highlight it, and be ready to throw it at us. I mean, we as a body can bring in testimony, bring in partners. We can, if something necessitates expertise in a particular field, it's up to us to demand it and to find out what's going on and make it better for each and every person who lives in the city like we do. Rachel, you had?
Yeah, just really quickly, given Alan, your emails, anything having to do with the commission, especially for private citizens, anything having to do with the commission, this is a public body, the email, even though it's going to be on your private computer, is going to be a public email. And anything you send back to Alan or to the commission is going to be a public email. Keep that in mind so you don't bring anything else. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, just keep the professionalism in mind. It's not going to take it out of the public realm because it's on your private. Okay, it's a public body, we're part of the public body, and the messages are right.
And that being said, the media is always a potential visitor. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable with that, just let me know, let us know, and we will absolutely take your comments, questions, issues to the commission on your behalf. So you'll get over it. Believe me. Yes.
Point of that too. These are sensitive, so red is off, green is on. If you're having a sidebar conversation and it's green, the eyes in the sky can hear and see it. So just be careful. Just be conscientious of that.
Right.
You're at this table. There's microphones around. There's eyes in the sky. They can hear you.
And we're
You're on
being
TV
live
right
streamed.
now.
For our meetings, is there a public commentary period that's blocked into the agenda?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I haven't thought about it. I think we're usually, I haven't talked to anybody about it. I didn't know I really was gonna be the chair until about 10 minutes ago. I'm guessing, anticipating, just like the committee that I chaired, at the pleasure of the council president, if there is public comment, then it would go through the chair. So if anybody approaches you on a particular issue, you can just refer them to me. Anybody, I let anybody speak at my committee as long as pertinent to something we're considering that day. So I would imagine that's how I would do it, right? If we have a civil service day and somebody has a particular issue with the Civil Service Commission or our civil service rules, then I would afford them an opportunity to address, as long as it doesn't. I'm sorry? Yes, Joe?
So we also have established a commission page on our website, and people can make comments through a form that will then be posted. So people feel too comfortable coming in this session, put their comments to us.
And that website is on the front of the book, where all of this information will be available, as well as our meeting schedules. If we come up with agenda items for particular meetings, and I'm sure we will, you know, once you take a look at the 2008 report, get a feel for what we're trying to do here. You know, we can go section by section, we can go, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I don't have that laid out in my brain, and I'm going to rely on all of you to kind of contribute and figure out how to get through this in a, you know, with some direction, with some substance. I'm not wasting anybody's time. I mean, that's not why you asked to serve. That's not why we're going to sit here. We're going to get some work done, and then we're going to get out. And if you think about it at 10 o'clock that night, then you send an email, right? Because that's the only way this is going to really get to the finish line. And we do have a finish line, which is also important. That's all I had. I'll give anybody my cell phone number, my email. Communication's going to be key. It's a big group. It's a big body with a big job to do. So we got to get to know each other a little better and talk it out. Mr. President?
So Marty, just because, you know, the first meeting in terms of, you know, a direction or like a starting place,
Right.
I think a good starting place would be in the packet to review those recommendations that were not passed by the voters, just as a, you know, maybe those are ones that we want to refresh or dust off or reprioritize to the council, because we do need, when the document is submitted to the council, you know, prioritizing and knowing which ones are really important is significant. So I would say that, and then I have if I were to have, I've got a couple areas of interest. Can I how do we best, like if I have an interest in chapters 7, 5, and 3, certain sections, do I email that to the group or do I put it on the web page? Like how best should I do that?
Yeah.
Rachel's got the answer.
Through staff. I mean,
Okay.
me and copy Rachel.
Okay.
And Alan, and we're going to get out. I think we're going to have to go through everything.
Yeah.
I know we are. So once we get to those sections, we'll get a day where it's an agenda item. We'll get necessary presenters.
Perfect.
From either the administration or wherever that is. I think that would probably, Rachel and Alan can be the gatekeeper, and then we'll just figure out how to get it done.
Great. Thank you.
Marty?
Yes.
Marty, oh.
Oh, good.
Just a couple of comments, and these may have been made already. Well, first, Council President, you mentioned reviewing items that were not passed by the voters. That was specified that they were not submitted to the voters.
Submitted.
Yeah, we haven't, you know, so far, nothing we've submitted to the voters hasn't passed, so.
Right.
I wanted to make that distinction,
Yeah.
but I think your point, you know, starting with the report is good, and also just, you know, for those of you who are not familiar with the Ohio Constitution and the city charter, you know, to become familiar, not, you know, that you have to read it and memorize it, but just become familiar because, you know, this is our Constitution. And keep in mind that, you know, we're looking at broad guiding principles for running the city. This is not necessarily the body for making specific changes or addressing specific issues or redressing certain things on a specific level necessarily, but we got during the time we did this, we got a lot of great ideas and great proposals for things and changes that people like to see in the city, and we thought were great ideas, but they're not appropriate for a constitution, because none of these changes will take effect unless they are voted on by the city of the citizens of the city of Cleveland. And in order to change anything that is in the charter, it has to go to the voters. So, you know, we have to keep that in mind as we make changes and recommendations for new charter amendments. And that's not to say, you know, the proposals and ideas that we get, you know, we can refer those to the appropriate departments or individuals for follow-up. You know, again, we got a lot of great ideas during that last discussion, 2008.
Yeah, and that also has to be legal. I mean, we had some, you had some that just people had a specific issue, grievance with the charter about they were negatively affected by a specific provision within the charter, so they tried to kind of campaign to change it, but we just couldn't. I mean, there are some boundaries to what we can and can't do. Like pave 144th gold or something, platinum. But we'll get all through. I think the starting point is to look at the recommendations, familiarize yourself with the charter if you're not already. Highlight things that you'd like to take a deeper dive and bring it to our attention. It'll be fun.
I know that we have to the end of 2018, but Council President mentioned 6 months. Are we looking to have this wrapped up to go to voters the end of this year, early next year, late next year?
So if this is April plus 6, we would not have this ready for the end of 18. So the earliest the suggestions could be voted on would be the primary of 19. Primary in general. We can put it on any ballot, or I mean, we could have a special election, but we probably wouldn't want the city to that cost. So any election after, probably any election from 2019 on, we can put these on.
Anything else? Are we good to the order?
Marty, just one other comment. You know, we had a lot of fun last time. It's a lot of hard work, but we had a lot of fun as well. And you'll find there's some strange things in the city charter, but there are reasons for that. And the man at the end of the table in the baseball cap knows all the secrets as to why things are the way they are. The things that don't make sense to normal people, you know, there was a reason at the time it was done. So, you know, the institutional knowledge around this table is really great.
Agree.
Madam Past Chairman, this is my 4th charter review commission.
Only meets every 10 years.
Wait a minute, they did it every 20 years. I'm not doing the math on that. Mr. President, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind people that we do have a lunch for people, which is not public record, that we can, you know, enjoy our lunch and, you know, have a good time. But please feel free to stay and eat and talk and get to know each other, because we'll all be getting to know each other pretty well over the next 6 months. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everybody.
You.
Okay.